Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
So we got Wild Card Weekend coming up, and this is in some ways a very familiar territory. We got the Ravens and Titans playing each other, which, as we know, they played in the divisional round last year. This year they're playing the wild card round, but still fairly familiar territory. However, also fairly unfamiliar territory, as you have the Cleveland Browns as a playoff team this year, which is
we do.
Very, very odd. But not odd based on the season you had. The Browns definitely deserved to make the playoffs. Like when you go 11-5, you damn well better make the playoffs. And there was a possibility that there would be a team this year that went 11-5 that didn't make the playoffs, but not every AFC team won in Week 17. So, or not every playoff contender won in Week 17. So that didn't happen.
Suck it, Dolphins.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
right,
they had a good season.
Yeah, I think they had a pretty good season. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know if I believe in Tua personally. I was kind of hoping. I was kind of saying the Bengals should draft Tua before Joe Burrow kind of emerged. I was kind of saying, okay, the season's going badly here. Looks like we're gonna have a high pick. We should go get Tua Tagovailoa as our next quarterback. But it wasn't so much because I thought Tua was going to be this amazing, great, generational quarterback or anything like that. It's just at the time he seemed like the best that draft class had. At the time, it seemed like a pretty poor draft class. And there was also Justin Herbert, but I also, I
didn't believe in
kind of famously I was very anti Justin Herbert going into the draft, and I guess that
you're the only person I know who continues to you're the only person I know who will harp on a bad take. You'd be like, yes, I did not think Herbert was a good quarterback. You say that 8 times. Every single time we talk about this Herbert, I did not think
you know what? When I get shit right, I brag my ass off about it. I'm just trying to be balanced.
It's admirable. It's admirable because nobody does that. Most people, when they get in the wrong, they try to hide it, including me. When I get in the wrong, I go I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you see, that's actually kind of the reason why I like doing the predictions recap the way we do it, because to me, it's not as interesting. I mean, I'll brag my ass off because I'm like, yeah, I was right. Look at me. Y'all should listen to me about Mitch Trubisky. But outside of that, I don't find it very interesting to talk about the games that we got right. It's like I'll brag about it for a second, like ha 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 ha, and then other than that, it's just kind of there's nothing really to talk about there because we already talked about what I thought was going to happen on the last episode, and then exactly what I said was going to happen happened. And when you get it wrong, it's like, oh, there's all these different things to analyze. I just think that's more fun to talk about, really.
Yeah, I agree. I ain't disagreeing here.
As far as quarterback prospects, though, I am not shy about my record with quarterback prospects because I get some very, very, very right. I know I wasn't the only one, but it felt like I was the only one for a while who was trying to tell everybody that Johnny Manziel was going to be a bust. It felt like everybody. Maybe it was just because Bengals fans were so sick of Andy Dalton at the time, and they were looking for any kind of excitement they could find. But it seemed like everybody I talked to was like, "Oh, Johnny Manziel is going to be this great, exciting, amazing quarterback," and I was like, dude, are you insane? This guy has no control over his own life, much less his ability to turn into a professional. I don't know. But anyway, we should probably go ahead and start talking about these games. So the way that we're going to do this, we're going to go through the Saturday slate of games, and then we're going to talk about the Sunday slate of games. Normally we do AFC, NFC, but this seems like kind of a more fun way to approach it. So first game we got on the docket is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Today, this is being recorded on Friday, by the way. So if y'all are watching this on Saturday, it will be played on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And in fact, actually, if you're watching this on Saturday, it's probably already been played. The first game, 1:05 p.m., you've got the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Buffalo to play the hotshot Buffalo Bills. So who do you think is going to win this one, Thomas?
Usually it's very rare where I give you the big upset of the week, the very first game, but I'm going to go with this game as my big upset of the week. I've been thinking about this a lot. Um, I like the Colts. Call me crazy. I like the Colts. And I like the Colts in this game. For two reasons. First of all, I like that Colts running back. I think the Colts running back is very good. Haven't got enough credit this year. He has done a great job of just taking the pressure off Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a playoff experienced quarterback, and I do think he has a little bit left in the tank. I think he has a little more left in the tank than Ben Roethlisberger does. We'll get to that later. I like that Colts defense. I think that they should be able to set up a game plan to slow down Stephon Diggs and slow down that Bills offense. And as crazy as that sound, I think the Colts, the Colts defense is very underrated. They have a very smart defense. In their last loss against the Steelers, I know that was a bad loss, but I think this Colts team, they have a lot of fight in them. And I think that they might be able to take advantage of a Bills team, an inexperienced Bills team that is actually under more pressure than they realize right now. So I'm going with the Colts as my big upset of the week.
Okay. I'm not sure I would call that a huge upset. I mean, like it's definitely an upset. Like, the Colts aren't exactly seen as like this giant contender, and the Bills are kind of seen as like, the best team to challenge the Chiefs. So it's definitely an upset. But as far as a big upset,
well, I mean, I had to call it something, right?
Yeah, there's only 6 games, so I mean, like, how much?
Well, I want to say, like, the AFC playoff, the AFC is so good that I want to say that any of these teams, if any team wins in the AFC over any game, it shouldn't be that big of an upset because the AFC is just so damn competitive this year.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one, though. I think
Okay.
I think that, like I said, this Bills team, I think, is probably the most likely chance for the AFC to not be represented by the Chiefs 2 years in a row. Now, first of all, I don't have any problem with the Chiefs. If the Chiefs win, I'm not saying I want the Bills to go take down the Chiefs, although I also don't have any problem with the Bills. So it's like, really, honestly, from my perspective, as long as it's not the Steelers. or the Ravens, really. I don't really want to see the Ravens win a Super Bowl again. But I mean, I'm not really too worried about whether the Colts or the Bills win. I think Phillip Rivers deserves something in his career, and he hasn't really gotten that. I think, but I don't know. I think the Bills just have too much firepower right now. I think I think their defense is playing. Clearly, the Colts have the upper hand as far as defense goes, but the Bills' defense is good enough to keep up with the Colts' offense, and then the Bills' offense is just it's as good as the Colts' defense is. I think it's even then it's going to be difficult for them to keep up with the Bills. So I'm going to go with the Bills on this one.
Okay. All right. Friendly disagreement. Okay, I got you.
So, all right. Next game on the schedule is at 4:40 p.m. tomorrow. You will have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Seattle to play the Seahawks.
Ooh, this is gonna be the best one out of all of them on Saturday, I think. And I think that first game is looking pretty damn good. They haven't really been. Do we know if Jared Goff's going to play or not tomorrow?
I believe he will not.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I've been hearing a lot of people talking about John Wolford, so I'm assuming he's probably playing.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I don't think they're going to take that big of a step back without him.
I don't think so at all, actually.
Yeah. I'm still going to go with the Seahawks, though. I'm not going to bet against Russell Wilson in this situation.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think the Rams are like the Seahawks. Their defense has been playing a lot better lately, so the Seahawks might be the most balanced team in the NFL right now, except again maybe the Chiefs, but like the Chiefs are ridiculous and insane and kind of unfair. So
The Chiefs are
um,
a cheat code.
the Chiefs are kind of the cheat code, yeah. But like as far as reasonable teams in the NFL go, I think the Seahawks might be the most balanced team in the playoffs.
The Chiefs aren't even reasonable.
They're ridiculous. If they don't win the Super Bowl, I'll be shocked. Honestly, absolutely shocked.
That's
But
even a bigger
no,
reason I need the Colts to win.
The Seahawks, I feel, are playing much better football lately than the Los Angeles Rams are. The Rams, all they really have going right now is that defense is pretty good, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough to shut down Russell Wilson. And even then, that Seahawks defense is starting to play better lately, and that that Rams offense is like it's good enough when you're playing against not fantastic competition like the Arizona Cardinals. Um,
Mhm.
like let me rephrase, like the Arizona Cardinals when Kyler Murray isn't having a big day. Um, so I don't know. I don't see too much opportunity here. I don't see too many paths to victory for the Rams in this one. I think it's the Seahawks game to lose, and um, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about it too. Yeah. Okay. All right. I agree with you. Okay, we're moving around pretty nicely with this one. All right. Who we got next? Who's the night
Next,
game?
the final game of tomorrow will be 8:15 p.m. and
Okay.
it is going to be mind-bogglingly a 7-9 football team hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Washington football team, by the way, if you couldn't figure that out. Hosting
I don't think this.
Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't think this game is going to be as much of a blowout as people think it will be. Call me crazy. I'm still going with the Buccaneers. I'm still going with Tom Brady. I think experience went out. I think Tom Brady is. I know that 90% of the Bucks, 99% of the Bucks haven't played in playoff game. In fact, that's why I think it's going to be a close game because I am a sucker for experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still gonna go with Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is Tom Brady's just a winner. So you can say he's one of the greatest of all time. He's a GOAT. You give him a game like this, it's going to be a great game to warm up his team, get them ready for a tougher playoff opponent, and give them that playoff taste. I think that this is going to be a game for Tom Brady to lose, and I think the greatest of all time, the GOAT, is going to shine and win this game ultimately.
Right. I am having trouble figuring out right now if Alex Smith is playing.
I'm pretty sure he should be,
I'm
right?
I'm seeing a lot of people talking about how like inspirational it is for him to be playing in a playoff game after everything he's been through. But then I'm also seeing more recent posts that are basic. I'm seeing a lot of ambiguous posts about like Sports Illustrated 3 hours ago posted an article that said Alex Smith to make long-awaited return to NFL postseason. However, I'm also seeing articles from the Washington Post and NFL.com that's saying that Alex Smith is listed as questionable for Saturday.
I
So
think that might just be logistics. I don't know.
I don't personally, as far as my actual prediction goes, I don't think it really matters if Alex Smith plays.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick.
I don't think it matters either.
However, you said you don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a blowout if Alex Smith does not play. And even if Alex Smith plays, it still might be a blowout because he's not exactly he's a very good he's a solid quarterback to have, but he's also not like in a big time crazy high scoring game. He's not necessarily the kind of quarterback who's going to keep you competitive and if you need to score a shit ton of points. I don't think Alex Smith is the quarterback to do it.
Yeah.
He's more of kind of like a very solid game manager, which fits what Washington tries to do. It's just if Tom Brady's out there going off, which I very much think that he might.
Probably will.
And you know why? Because everybody's talking about the Washington football team. Don't count them out. They might they might have a big thing. And a lot of people reference the fact that Chase Young is on that team. But you know what Chase Young does Thomas? You know what he does?
Uh, he get hurt.
He disappears in big games.
Well, I mean, he only played like he's still a rookie though.
Well, yeah, but he did that at Ohio State too. He disappeared in big games.
Well, I mean, all Ohio State players disappear in big games. Besides Denzel Ward.
I was about to. You say that, but Ohio State's out there winning big games, so obviously not all of them do.
Look, man. Let's be real. How many big games have? Never mind. No, we are going out of path. How many big games has Ohio State lost in the last 20 years? They win 2 big games in the last 20 years. They win 2 big games in the last 20 years. And no, I do not count Big Ten games as big games because the Big Ten is trash. Somebody got to say it. Like I'm going to say it. The Big Ten is trash. What have the Big Ten really done in the last 20 years besides Ohio State? And Ohio State won 2 big games in the last 20 years. I tell you, 2 big games.
Michigan was ranked a couple of times.
Yeah, they beat Miami in 2003, right? They beat Miami in 2003, and they beat Alabama in 2014. Those were the only 2 big wins Ohio State had in the last 20 years to win a national championship. That's it. That's why they only have 2 national championships in the last 20 years. But every single year, they're ranked in the top 5. If you're ranked in the top 5 every year for 20 years, and you only win 2 national championships, that means you lost a lot of freaking big games.
Well, yeah, but you could also make the argument that like the college football playoffs are big games, even like the semifinals are big games. And both the last 2 years, Ohio State has shown the fuck up well, actually no, I guess they didn't last year, but this year they definitely showed the fuck up.
They did this year. So I guess 3 games. I give them 3 games. I guess I give them the national championship game against Oregon, but I think Oregon didn't know what they were doing that year. I don't know why Oregon was in that national championship game because that's the last time Oregon was a decent football team ever.
Well, either way, my point is...
I'm like mad hating Ohio State right now. Sorry, let's get back to NFL.
Well, no, I'm okay with that. Fuck Ohio State. But as far as Chase Young goes, I was looking at this a lot when I was because like a lot of Bengals fans were like, there was a pretty significant section of Bengals fans that was like, we shouldn't take Joe Burrow, we should take Chase Young. Because that's more important than a quarterback, right? But I looked into it just to see if Chase Young really is like the next Reggie White, then okay, maybe we can consider this. But I looked into it, and it's like the dude disappears in big games. At least he did at Ohio State. Now, if he shows up against the Buccaneers this week and they win partially because of him, I'll take back what I said. But so far, from what I've seen from Chase Young's college career, is that he turns off the Jets at times, and not just in big games, but I mean there's just random times when he'll just kind of take whole entire games off. So I don't know, like I think regardless of what Chase Young does, regardless of what Alex Smith does, I think the Buccaneers are overall the much better team. Right, they've been playing out of their minds lately. And Washington's got a good defense, and they've got an okay offense. And I'd probably take Ron Rivera as a coach over Bruce Arians, but I don't think that's going to be enough to overcome just the amount of damage that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can do.
I agree.
So I agree with you in that I think the Buccaneers win. However, I disagree with you in that I do think it's going to be a blowout.
Yep, I agree. All
right.
Agree.
So moving on to our Sunday slate of games, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans in their rematch of the divisional round from last year. The difference being the Titans are hosting this game because the Ravens are the wild card team this time.
Yeah. The Ravens had a the Ravens had a 4-game stretch or a 3-game stretch where they didn't really good. I think a lot of that I think chalks up to their COVID issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we undermine how COVID can affect the locker room. And they bounced back from it ever since that game. Ever since that game against the Browns, even. They have done a really good job of just fighting, clawing their way back. And I'm a sucker for how you finish the season. Uh, and I'm a sucker for momentum, and I think the Ravens have a lot of momentum going to this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm going with the Ravens this game. I think the Ravens can take care of the. I think the Ravens can take care of the. I think the Ravens can take care of the Titans, get their respect back, get good playoff position, and move on to the next round.
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I agree with you about momentum, but if there's anybody in the NFL, any one single player in the NFL who has momentum on their side right now, it's Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah.
And the Titans already beat the Ravens earlier this season, and a big part of that was because Derrick Henry rushed for 133 yards and a touchdown.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
So I don't see the Ravens as being that much different now than they were when they played the Titans earlier this year. What was that, week 11?
Yeah, they're not that much different.
Yeah, they're not that much different. The Titans aren't that much different. And the main difference is Derrick Henry's been even better now than he looked earlier this season, which is like, wow, what? But he does. So Derrick Henry looks like he's just on a different planet than everybody else. And I don't think that the Titans are going to make it to the Super Bowl necessarily, but I do think that they'll get through the Ravens this week.
Yeah, what though? Ryan Tannehill, I don't think Ryan Tannehill he hasn't really looked that bad, honestly. I think that's something that we need to talk about. It's like Ryan Tannehill, he just haven't. I mean, he hasn't been looking really good this season. I don't have his stats up in front of me right now. No, I mean, I don't think he looked that bad
earlier at the beginning of the year.
No, that's what I'm saying. He haven't looked bad at all. Like I just don't think that people. Yeah. I don't think that people been giving us credit. In fact, I have his stats up right now. On the season, he have a 65% pass completion percentage, 3,819 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions with a 106 quarterback rating. Those are really good stats.
Yeah,
those are really good stats for a quarterback.
I saw a graphic earlier this season. I mentioned it on the podcast. I forget what the stats were actually referring to at the time, but regardless what it was, it was basically a graphic that was pointing out that Ryan Tannehill has some pretty amazing stat lines that are really only comparable to Patrick Mahomes this year. So I forget which exact stat lines they were, but the fact that he's in some way, shape, or form comparable to the insanity that is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that just tells you right there how much Ryan Tannehill has really evolved since he got to Tennessee.
Well, think about it though, and I, we never talk about we always talk about players' primes. I think Ryan Tannehill's probably in his prime. I would say a quarterback's prime, depending on what style of quarterback he is. I think depending on Ryan Tannehill's style, he's 32 right now. I would say that he's probably right around his prime right now. When do you say, like 32? When do you say having a quarterback, the best time to have a pocket passing quarterback would probably be between the ages of 28 to 34, right? Because then they have the experience, they're in the physical prime. They haven't deteriorate because your arm to really start deteriorating until you probably reach like 35, 36 for real. Right. Especially with sports medicine nowadays. So he's 32. He's 32. His mind's probably sharper than ever been before. He's not a young man. He's probably more focused. He's an adult. I just
have Adam Gase as his head coach anymore.
Don't have Adam Gase as his head coach anymore. The only thing I would say about Ryan Tannehill is when he looked bad, he looked bad. Like he looked really bad in that game against the Packers. First half against the Browns, he didn't look really good, but he had a great second half. Other than that, the game against the Vikings, maybe other than that, he had a good season. And I think Ryan Tannehill is a very capable quarterback, but I'm still going with the Ravens this game. I think Lamar Jackson's on a mission.
Well, I will grant you that the Titans' defense in general has just been trash this year. on the whole. However, they did a decent job against the Baltimore Ravens last time they played them. They only
They do match up well.
they held Lamar
Ravens.
Jackson to 51 yards rushing.
I was just about to say that the Titans are really good at stopping the run, and that don't mold well for the Ravens, who is pretty much the primary running team. But if Lamar Jackson could do a good job with the play fakes, with the run fakes, with the Baltimore offense, get Hollywood Brown going, man, I think the Ravens can make some noise this game.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked, but like I said, I'm taking the Titans.
Yep. Okay. Cool. I mean, we got to disagree, right? Because we got the Jersey bet going.
We pretty much we've agreed on all the NFC games and disagreed on all the AFC games so far. So,
yep.
All right.
Well, I know we'll disagree on the future.
Final NFC game of this slate that we got here, and second game on Sunday at 4:40 p.m. You've got you've got the Chicago Mitch Trubisky's going up against the New Orleans Saints. Now, I'll just tell you right now that I tried so hard to pull any and all mental jumping jacks that I could to get myself to believe in the Bears this game. I tried so hard, Thomas. I wanted so badly to find a way to believe that Mitch Trubisky was going to pull it off. But then I looked at the Saints, and I'm like, there's just no way.
The Saints are really good this year.
The Saints don't have any holes. That's the thing. Like they generally rank at worst average in any particular category, and for the most part, they're like top 10 in almost every offensive and defensive category. You want to talk about a well-rounded, well-balanced team? The New Orleans Saints really are it. Kind of like the Seahawks, except without they haven't quite had the quarterback play lately. But then again, never know with Drew Brees, and he's just recently coming back from injury. So
the only thing I'll say about this,
I just finish off by saying we'll see what happens, and maybe because it seems like the Bears only do things that I pick them not to do. Maybe the Bears do win, and maybe I get to come on next week and talk about how much of an idiot I am for not believing in Mitch again. But I just if I'm being reasonable here, that would be a pretty. This was gonna be my big upset of the week, but I just couldn't justify it. So, yeah, I'm picking the Saints because, I cannot find a way to make it happen in my head.
The only reason why because I agree with you, I'm going with the Saints. Okay. But I will say this about the Saints. So the Saints, they had Drew Brees for almost 20 years now, only won one Super Bowl with him. The Saints have had a lot of good teams with Drew Brees, a lot of good teams. And one thing they do is they find ways to choke. I'm not saying they're going to do that this time, but I just think that I just wouldn't be surprised if the Bears won this game. I'm not going to pick the Bears. I'm not going to try to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to go with the Saints. But
I will say
it just seems like a game Saints lose.
Yeah, the Bears did come close to beating the Saints earlier this season. I want to say about week 9, maybe week 8 or 9. I think it was 9. The Saints played the Bears, and the Saints did win, but the Bears almost won, and that was with Nick Foles playing quarterback. So, I mean, if you got good Mitch Trubisky playing, and everything else happens the exact same way, Bears probably win that game.
Yeah.
But that's relying on that's relying on Mitch Trubisky to win you a playoff game against Drew Brees. So, yeah, probably not.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's Saints all the way. It's Saints all the way.
Yeah.
Now watch the Bears win this game. All right. What do we have next?
Next we have, or well, I guess last, 8:15 p.m. Sunday night. We got,
Hey, hold on.
for the first time in 18 years, the Cleveland Browns playing a playoff game, traveling to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Now, since
You
we
go
all kind of
first.
probably, I think we all know your answer, so I'll let you go first on this one.
No, I'll go let you go first. Okay, all right. Look fine. All right, cool. I'm gonna go with the Browns. And here's why. Here's why. At the beginning of the week, when the COVID news came out, when Kevin Stefanski got COVID, when came out Kevin Stefanski got COVID, I was like, yeah, it's over the Browns. But then I thought about it. And I thought about a couple of things. And then the COVID list came out, and now we're at a standstill at COVID. Hopefully, we stay at this spot. And the players that are going to be off the good news is we're going to get BJ Goodson back. We're going to get Denzel Ward back. Essentially, the biggest pieces that the Browns are missing, Joe Paterno and Rodney Harris, our safety and our offensive line, Joe Paterno. But when I look at it, the Browns have won a lot of big games without a lot of key pieces, including two of those players. Now, not necessarily Joe Paterno, but we did win games without White Heller. We did win games without a couple other offensive linemen like Justin Herbert. So it's not outside of realm possibility. The Browns should not miss a beat because they have been in this situation before, especially the offense. Now, Donald Peoples-Jones is in concussion protocol, so there's a chance that he might be off concussion protocol by Sunday night. There's not a clear answer to that yet. That would be big. We need our speedy receiver. But other than that, you still got Baker Mayfield. You still got Jarvis Landry. You still have 99% of your you still have 95% of your offensive line. You still have Kareem Hunt. You still have who am I missing? Rasheed Higgins, biggest favorite target. You still have Denzel. You still gonna have Denzel Ward on defense, most likely. You're gonna have Myles Garrett. You're gonna have Kevin Johnson back. You might have Greedy Williams back, and that's your secondary. And so there are still a lot of pieces on this team, and you're never gonna go into the playoff fully healthy. You're never gonna go into the playoff fully healthy. That's a dream scenario to go into playoff fully healthy. That's like a have you eat cake and eat it too type scenario. Teams win Super Bowls with having key players missing out. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the coaching staff, although Kevin Stefanski won't be able to call plays on game day, we want to have the special team coordinator coordinate. He's going to be the CEO of the Browns team, the Browns on Sunday. Then you're going to have Alex Van Pelt calling your offense plays. You're going to have Joe Woods calling your defense plays. So your defense is not going to lose a beat. Your offense, on the other hand, shouldn't also lose a beat because Alex Van Pelt is a very capable play caller. Not only that, Alex Van Pelt is working really closely with Kevin Stefanski, and they've been on beat with each other. Him, Baker Mayfield, and Kevin Stefanski all been on beat with each other. So you have three people in the room who really work well. Now, obviously, Kevin Stefanski is the leader in that situation, and obviously you want your leader. But at the end of the day, Kevin Stefanski is going to be there to help game plan. He's been game planning and video calling and Zoom calling with these players all week. He's been setting the game plan. He's been setting the strategy. All Alex Van Pelt has to do is just deliver the strategy, deliver the plan. That's what Alex Van Pelt has to do. So then what it comes down to the players. It comes down to the Jarvis Landrys of the world. It comes down to the Baker Mayfields of the world. It comes down to the Nick Chubbs of the world. Like, how bad do y'all want it? But then also you got to think about something else. There's two other factors that work against the Steelers that Steelers have control over. Or they don't have control over, as I should say. The Steelers' strongest point on their team is their very strong receiver core. Juju Smith-Schuster, Claypool, and Deontay, what's his name? Deontay Washington, whatever. You got James Washington and what's his name? Deontay, whatever. I can't think of his name right now. Very fast, very athletic, very capable receiver. The problem is that your quarterback is looking hurt, and he looks like he is on his last leg. and it looks like he's having accuracy problems and throwing problems. He cannot throw long. So if I'm the Browns, I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on him. I'm gonna see what I can get. I need Myles Garrett to have a big game. Myles Garrett, you have a big game this game, we win this game. If you have a big game in this game, we win this game handily. Because you get pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, you shake up Ben Roethlisberger, it's over. So we get that going, we're gonna win this game. Juju Smith-Schuster. I cannot talk about this game without talking about your ass. You are an idiot because why would you talk smack and give the Browns bulletin board material? This team doesn't have just a few good players. This team has great players on this team. There are all-stars on this team. There are a lot of players that could beat you on this team. There are so many good players on that offense that they literally have to take back seats to other players on the offense so they can have great stats. Nick Chubb will have better stats if he play on another team. Kareem Hunt will have better stats if he play for another team. Jarvis Landry will have more targets if he play for another team. Like, what do you mean? And then don't get me started on our tight ends. Like, the Browns have so many weapons, and you're just going to talk smack about us? All right, go ahead. Get them fired up. Get them fired up. Watch what happens. I'm going with the Browns. The Steelers are underestimating their opponent, something that you should never do. They are undermining the Browns. They are undermining our city. They are undermining us as an organization, and they're undermining us as a people. Watch us kick their ass. Go Browns.
All right. That's good. That's good. Okay. So I actually changed my pick on this game right, like literally a minute before we started recording, because I saw something that you actually just alluded to when you were talking. Before we started recording, I saw it come up on my news feed, and that was the man you said, Juju Smith-Schuster, with the quote, "I think they're still the same Browns team I play every year. I think they're nameless gray faces. They have a couple good players on their team, but at the end of the day, the Browns is the Browns."
What an idiot.
Yeah. So I was gonna pick the Steelers, and it was gonna hurt, but I was gonna do it because you don't got Kevin Stefanski, you got XYZ issue in Cleveland. It just kind of felt like it was all kind of like culminating in a non-favorable situation for the Browns. Not that y'all couldn't beat them, but that it also didn't help that y'all, like, when you played them at full strength, you got blown out, and then when you played them, when you played their backups, you almost lost. That was my thought, but that quote flipped my brain, flipped my mindset on this game.
A lot of people's brains.
Because that was basically the exact same kind of motivation that Juju Smith-Schuster gave to the Bengals before we smacked them on national television. So apparently Juju didn't learn. He decided he was going to stop dancing on logos, I think because Mike Tomlin got on his ass about it. But he apparently did not learn. So you don't do that. You don't give the team you're playing more motivation than they already have. You don't give them, like you said, bulletin board material. Juju Smith-Schuster is an idiot. He's going to get himself run out of Pittsburgh because the Browns are going to win this game and everybody's going to point the finger at him. And they're going to be like, this Juju Smith-Schuster's costing us all these games. We got to get this guy out of here. And he's not even that great of a receiver in the first place. He's a fine receiver. He's good, but he's not like with how much he talks, you think he'd be like, Chad Johnson level numbers, but he's not.
His last two seasons haven't been that great. His first couple seasons were good, but his last two seasons, like this year and last year, haven't been that great. I had him on my fantasy team last year, and he freaking just ruined my life. So thank you, Juju, for that. Last time I ever picked a Steelers player in my fantasy.
He's got Chad Johnson's mouth with Jerome Simpson's production. So, yeah, okay. So it's not just that. But it's I heard I was listening to a Bengals podcast talking about the upcoming wild card games, and they
Mhm.
mentioned something that actually kind of made me think, oh, that's a good point. Um, the Steelers, I think, made a mistake by letting the Browns get a win on them. Basically, like letting the Browns, like handing the Browns a victory, um, right before the playoffs start.
Mhm.
I think the Steelers made a mistake by doing that because I think it's basically they basically gave the Browns a warm up game.
Yeah.
Uh, they basically gave the Browns kind of like a look in, and like you were saying, it also helps that the Browns didn't really give their whole playbook away in that game either.
Mhm.
Um, so you got a Browns team that might have had like some jitters about this game if the Steelers had come out and really put a hurting on them like they did the first time around. But they didn't. They basically gave them the win at the end at the end of a season where they're kind of like they're kind of like falling ass backwards in the playoff already.
Mhm.
So not only are you giving the Browns confidence by giving them that win, not only are you giving the Browns kind of a sneak peek of how to beat the Steelers when they basically had no clue before that game. Um, but I don't know. I don't think it was a very good decision by Mike Tomlin to rest his starters. Even though I understand what he's trying to do, especially because Ben Roethlisberger's like literally kind of feels like he's about to fall apart anyway. Maybe he was just trying to prevent Ben from falling apart before the playoffs start. And okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But at the same time, this is football. And
Yeah.
if you don't believe in your quarterback to play a full season of football, how in the hell do you expect them to even make it to the Super Bowl in the first place?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers are cocky and arrogant, and I think Juju Smith-Schuster is doing nothing but showing everybody that the Steelers are cocky and arrogant. And the way he's
Mhm.
talking, you're going to have everybody in America rooting for the Browns. If like a lot of people are already rooting for the Browns because everybody loves an underdog story, everybody loves the fact that it's been so long since the Browns were in the playoffs, so a lot of people are wanting the Browns to win because it's something different, it's something new.
Mhm.
Um, but on top of that, you got the Steelers acting like the heel, and nobody likes a heel.
Yeah. Well, that's why I call them Hill.
Right.
That's why they are. That's why they're
So
that.
So I was gonna pick the Steelers, but now I am making this game my big upset of the week
All right.
because
Let's go.
because I
Let's,
I, I don't necessarily believe that the Browns are a better team than the Steelers, but I do think that they're gonna do what it needs to be done to win this week.
yeah. Okay. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. And
Yeah,
now I'm excited.
I
Am
can
I?
imagine
Are
you.
you? Are you? Oh man, I'm so excited about Sunday.
So, like I
So
said,
excited about
picked
Sunday.
we picked all of the AFC or all of the NFC games the same. We both picked the Buccaneers, Seahawks, and Saints to win in the NFC. So that would be
Mhm.
relatively uninteresting. The AFC will be very interesting though because two of the three games we picked differently, and the other game is the game that we both literally just talked up to hell and back just now. So
I did not
these
think that you were
AFC
going to pick the
matchups are going
Browns.
to be fascinating for us. The NFC matchups now, okay, I would be like I said, I'd be fascinated if Mitch Trubisky finds a way to beat the Saints. I would be fascinated if the Washington football team finds a way to take down Tom Brady. Um, I don't know if I really care what happens in the Seahawks Rams game because neither team I think is going to make it to the Super Bowl anyway.
Yeah. Dang, it's just like the AFC has just been the more interesting. I've been like 90% of the time when I watch a football game that haven't been with my team and I've been like really engaged, it's usually two AFC teams. Like my favorite games this year were all AFC because AFC is so good this year.
Yeah.
AFC is so good this year. It's so much more interesting, even though the even though the what's it called, the Chiefs are just like the granddaddy of them all, but there's still so many good teams in the AFC that it's just like the AFC has been such a far more interesting conference of the two this past year because the
Well,
storylines and whatnot. I don't know
going
personally.
into the playoffs right now, I think I would agree with you because I am really, really, really interested to see what the Green Bay Packers can do. And I'm also fairly interested to see if Tom Brady can continue his legacy. But outside of that, I kind of, yeah, I'm not really like, I don't really care about the Seahawks. I don't really care about the Rams. I don't really care about the Saints. I have no faith in the Bears. I have no faith in the Washington football team. So it's just kind of like I'm kind of interested to see what goes on with the Buccaneers and the Packers. But outside of that, yeah, I agree. It's not interesting in the NFC right now.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be. When we get to the second round, we start seeing uh ooh the Saints versus the Seahawks. That's gonna be fun. Tom Brady versus Green Bay. That's gonna be fun. Stay tuned to that. Those are gonna be some fun games.
Yeah, the Buccaneers already smacked the Packers earlier this year, so if what we're both saying happens, then you've got the Seahawks going to New Orleans to play the Saints. You got the Buccaneers going to Green Bay to play the Packers. Actually, you know what? Just for fun, since we don't really have a super long episode this week, since we only have 6 games to talk about, let's real quick talk about what we expect to happen after this. So, the divisional round, you got the Seahawks, and you don't have to go into a big long explanation. Just tell me what you think is going to happen. You got the
Okay.
Seahawks and Saints. Who do you think is going to win that?
Seahawks and Saints.
Yeah.
Ooh. I want to say the Saints, but I always say the Saints always lose these games right before the Super Bowl. These are the kind of games they would lose. These are the kind of games the Saints lose.
I disagree with that. I think the Saints have a tendency to lose against teams they're not supposed to lose against. So the Bears
that's what I said. So like they probably
But the Bears are terrible. So I don't know if I believe in the Bears to actually pull that one off.
Wilson could beat the Saints. Wilson could beat the Saints, but I think
he could, but I think I agree with you that the Saints would win this matchup. If this is a matchup that happens, I think the Saints would win.
Yeah, I think inevitably we want to.
Actually, no. I take that back. I think I'm actually changing. I think I would pick the Seahawks. Actually, I think the Seahawks are better than the Saints overall.
Saints is a good team.
Saints
are good though.
But I think I would go with the Seahawks on that one. So then, what do you think about the Buccaneers and Packers?
Now that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I think I'll go with the Packers in that game actually. Okay. Believe it or not, I think the Packers have been very hot. Packers really impressed me this year. Aaron Rodgers, now that he got clueless out of Green Bay, he seems to be doing a lot better.
Well, I think the Buccaneers have, like I said earlier, the reason I'm picking them to obviously beat the Washington football team in blowout fashion is because of how they've looked lately. And on top of that, they also blew the doors off of the Packers last time they played them. So, I mean, you're going to have to show me something different, and neither of those two teams have. That the Buccaneers aren't going to do the exact same thing again.
Yeah.
So how about the Bills and the Titans? Wait, no, never mind. We got different AFC matchups, so I'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll get that next week. One more game I want to talk about though. College football. I want to say something about the Ohio State Alabama game. I think Ohio State's going to beat Alabama, believe it or not. And I'm saying that. I think I'm biased. Everybody think I'm biased because I'm from Ohio. I'm not an Ohio State fan at all. I'm not. Honestly, I like what I'm seeing from Justin Fields. I think that kid. I think that kid's kind of special, man. I think that kid got a lot in him. He might be one of the better quarterbacks from Ohio State we've seen. I'm not going to say if he's going to be a great pro quarterback or not, but I think that Alabama got a great quarterback themselves. But I like the coach for Ohio State, Ryan Day. I think he's better. I like him a lot more than I like Urban Meyer. I like him a lot. I think he's special, and I think Ohio State's going to be Alabama this week or Monday.
I
think come
don't.
Monday.
I think they're about to get smacked, just like Alabama
Okay.
smacked everybody.
Oh,
But
Alabama's a good team. I think it's gonna be a close game though. I think it'll be a real good game. It's gonna be a
real
real good
quick,
game. But I think Ryan did. Yeah.
real quick, who do you think is gonna win between the Browns and the Ravens if they match up? In the divisional round.
Browns Ravens matchup again. First of all, that's the game that everybody want to see, right?
I definitely want to see it.
I think.
Although, actually, well, I mean, maybe, but at the same time, if the Steelers win, then the Steelers play the Ravens. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like I think as far as like what America wants to see, I think they'd be happy with either matchup, really.
I think the Browns can get them the third time.
You think the Browns will get them the third time? Fair enough.
Because the reason why I say that would be if the Browns beat Steelers without their head coach, without their safety, and they get those people back the very next week. Oh boy. But not only that though, like the end of that Browns game, the Browns the Ravens did better the first half of that game. The Browns did better the second half of that game. That's why I don't want the Browns to play a team with Titans. The Titans came back against the Browns. And the Ravens didn't beat the Browns. They escaped the Browns if you watch that game. They very narrowly escaped the Browns that game. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson didn't play a good portion of that, but they couldn't stop the Browns offense. It was a point where the Ravens literally couldn't stop the Browns offense. Now, the Browns defense couldn't stop the Ravens offense. But also the Browns had significant pieces. Like, I said that there have been a lot of players that have been missing for the Browns. They didn't have Denzel Ward that game. Or Rodney Harris, if memory serves me correctly. So their defense might look better when that game comes around. They might be able to get some more stops that game. By the way, Justin Herbert just won Rookie of the Year.
Well, that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, no, James Robinson second, I guess. But
so what about, who do you like between the Chiefs and the Colts?
Chiefs.
Okay. Chiefs. And so you said Saints over Seahawks, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then you said Packers over Buccaneers.
Yep.
All right. So who do you got between the Packers and the Saints?
Ooh. Yeah, Drew Brees versus Aaron Rodgers.
Good matchup.
Man, that's a great matchup. I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers.
Actually, probably the last time you'll ever get to see it too.
Probably the last chance that Drew Brees have to probably win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Man, that Saints team's so good though. I want to say Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers.
Good. So how about do you have the audacity, Thomas, to pick the Browns over the Chiefs?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm about to be real with you. Maybe in like 3 weeks, maybe if this really does line up to happen. But no. I've been saying in the podcast all year. I think that we're in the midst of a dynasty that we have been seeing in the NFL in a very long time.
So
nobody's touching that team, man.
Does that mean you're picking the Chiefs over the Packers?
Actually, maybe not. Believe it or not, because in the NFL, I always say this is my favorite saying about football. In NFL, you don't got to be better than a team; you got to be better than a team that day. Mm-hmm. When you talk about two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a fantastic quarterback, but not only that, Aaron Rodgers been in the league longer than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is still a fairly young quarterback now. Now I ain't saying that Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes, because I don't think he is. But Aaron Rodgers, people underestimate. I think people forget. I think one thing that we suffer from in sports is that when we see something great and something that's great for so long, we kind of get enamored with the next big thing. Kind of like LeBron James and Giannis, right? Giannis is winning all these MVPs, but if him and LeBron James went against each other in the playoffs, I'm taking LeBron. LeBron's been so great for so long. It's just like, oh, LeBron's just being LeBron. It's nothing. It's something we've seen before because LeBron been doing it for 15 years. Aaron Rodgers the same way. Aaron Rodgers has been great with Mike McCarthy as his head coach. Aaron Rodgers is, in my opinion, I still think Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've seen. We had a discussion earlier. I think Aaron Rodgers would beat Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, so you think Packers win the Super Bowl?
The Packers win the Super Bowl, yes.
All right.
Yes.
So
yes. But that's it. I think Packers win the Super Bowl.
Real quick, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up, but I'll go ahead and go through what I think happens after the wild card round. Like I said, I think Seahawks beat the Saints. I think Buccaneers beat the Packers. Between the Titans and the Bills, those are the teams I have in the AFC matchup. I think the Bills. I think you'd be ridiculous if you thought that the Titans could out offense the Bills. That's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Bills' defense is clearly better than the Titans' offense. I definitely think I'd take the Bills in that game. And then I got the hold on. So in the way that the AFC shook out for me, it's the Browns and the Chiefs in the divisional round as opposed to the conference championship game. So sorry, Thomas, but I'm picking the Chiefs on that one.
I don't blame you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you picked the Chiefs too, but I'm just saying sorry.
No, I mean, like you remember how you said last podcast, Thomas don't be ashamed of losing. I wouldn't be ashamed of losing to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
I'd be like, well, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes, dude. Like,
so the NFC Championship, I think the Buccaneers take down the Seahawks. I don't think it's really, I don't think it's too difficult for them. I just think they do it, and that's really it. And then in the AFC Championship, you got the Bills and the Chiefs.
Okay. You think the Bills can beat the Chiefs?
Chiefs.
I mean, honestly, do you think the Bills can beat the Chiefs? Because I think.
No, I think the Bills can't. That's why I was wondering. I was like, maybe not. But no, I got to take the Chiefs.
Here's my thing about the Bills.
The Chiefs are not going to lose to the Bills in the AFC Championship. It's not going to happen.
I think the Bills can beat the Chiefs. I don't think they will. Well,
that's what I'm saying. I think they can, but I don't think they will.
I think if the Bills lose, I think the Bills. Okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but I think the Bills are more likely to win their first round matchup than their second round matchup. I know that's crazy. That's crazy to say. Because I think that I'm more or less in a show me stage with the Bills. We're playing a foreign opponent. The Colts aren't a familiar opponent with them, and also you have a quarterback in Patrick and Phillip Rivers versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen haven't really proven that he can win the playoffs yet. He had played.
Neither has Phillip Rivers.
That is very true. That is very true. Just saying, I'm just thinking like a lot of times these teams come in hot into the playoffs and they have all this hype and momentum going forward, and they're on top of the world, and then somebody humbles them. There's always that one team. I think that's most likely to be the Bills this year. But if the Bills beat the Colts, then I think they're gonna win a second round matchup and they're gonna be the AFC Championship game. If they lose to the Colts, obviously, but I think the Bills, I think they match up well because I think the Bills, if there's any team that can beat the Chiefs in the AFC, it's the Bills.
I agree with that. I just don't think they will. I don't think.
Yeah, me neither.
The main thing. So anyway,
I agree with that though.
So you had the Chiefs and Packers in the Super Bowl. I got the Chiefs and Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, and I think Tom Brady gets it done.
Okay.
So
we both agree that Patrick Mahomes is not going to win this year.
We think when we think of that Chiefs Buccaneers game from earlier this season, we think about Tyreek Hill going off, but we don't think about like I was actually surprised to look back on that game and remember that the Buccaneers were within 3 points of winning that game. That was because of a fourth quarter rally. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they kind of came close-ish. But at the same time, that game could have gone differently, even with Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes having a day out there.
Yeah.
And that was with Patrick Mahomes playing a virtually perfect game. He threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did get sacked twice, but he threw for 462 yards. and the Buccaneers still came within 3 points of that game. So I think in the playoffs, when Tom Brady typically, shows what he's made of, and with the fact that the Buccaneers are already looking really hot lately anyway, I think, if you got a Buccaneers-Chiefs rematch, I don't see why the Buccaneers can't win that game. And I would actually, as of right now, maybe this will be different, depending on how the Chiefs are playing at that point, it might be a little different. But, I don't know. I like the Buccaneers in that matchup. So I'm picking Tom Brady to get number 7, and you're picking Aaron Rodgers to get number 2.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So neither of us think the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
As much as we've been talking up the Chiefs on this episode, we both picked them to lose the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't think much to. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, I said earlier in the show that Justin Herbert won Rookie of the Year. No, he's just been nominated. Oh. So I'm grossly off. But
I would say grossly, but yeah.
But he's probably gonna win it. By the way, looking back at Baker Mayfield's rookie year, where the rookie of the year was Saquon Barkley, yeah, that aged well.
Well, I mean, he was definitely
over
rookie
Lamar
of the year.
Jackson. Over Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. Well, I mean, but like Lamar Jackson led his team to playoffs, and Baker Mayfield broke Peyton Manning's record.
Yeah, but Saquon Barkley had a hell of a rookie year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm just saying, like Kyler Murray won Rookie of the Year with less than Baker Mayfield did, and Lamar Jackson for that matter. I don't know. I mean, Lamar ended up winning MVP the next year, and both players made the playoffs before Saquon Barkley did. So, at the end of the day, who really lost?
But anyway, yeah. So we're not predicting the whole playoffs, by the way, guys. We just kind of that was kind of like a in the moment kind of decision that I made. Like, oh, hey, let's just go ahead. Since we got all this time, let's talk about the rest of those games. So that. But as far as the wild card round goes, like I said, me and Thomas have identical picks for the NFC and almost entirely different picks for the AFC, except we both think the Browns will beat the Steelers. But that's pretty much it for this round of predictions this week. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. If you haven't seen it yet, go check that out because we got some interesting insights there for you. But other than that, thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
Go Browns. Beat the Steelers.
This week.
Oh, yeah.
This week. Go Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Go Browns this week. I say go Bengals a couple weeks ago. Well, that's the thing. I'm not so anti. I'm more anti Steelers than I would ever be anti Browns. So this week.
Okay, that makes my heart feel well. Oh, I can't wait till Baker Mayfield versus Joe Burrow Part 3 happens though. That's gonna be a fun.
I can't wait for Joe Burrow to start like doing something beyond just playing really good for a really bad team.
By the way, Joe Burrow has confirmed that he will play. He will be back for the first game of the season.
Yeah, Joe Burrow said. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but the fact that Joe Burrow came out and said that, when I saw that, made my heart all warm and fluffy.
Oh, get ready! You're gonna have a real good season next year. Watch.
I look forward to what next season brings. It's either going to bring really good results or it's going to bring another season of change, and there's going to be a lot to talk about in the off season. So either way,
Steelers in fourth place confirmed.
Do what?
Let's end the Steelers dynasty this weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dynasty. They don't have a dynasty.
Oh, let's end the Steelers legacy right now. Let's end them. Let's put the Steelers in fourth place Let's do this. We can literally put the Steelers in fourth place for the next 3 to 4 years.
Oh, well, okay. I was about to say you can't do that.
Get Deshaun Watson.
You can put them in third place, maybe.
They better not get Deshaun Watson. Y'all better not get Deshaun Watson. Y'all don't get Deshaun Watson.
They're not going to get Deshaun Watson.
I hope not.
But anyway, guys, like I said, thanks for listening. We'll see y'all next week. See ya.